You've probably seen them. Amish women in plain dresses and bonnets, Mennonite women in modest outfits with a bit more variety. But what really separates these two groups isn't just what they wear, it's how they live, how they raise their children, how they engage with the modern world, and even how their voices are heard or silenced within their own communities. In this video, we're taking a closer, more honest look at 6 key differences between Amish and Mennonite women. Number 1. The dress code speaks volumes. For both Amish and Mennonite women, the way they dress isn't just about modesty. It's a deeply rooted symbol of faith, identity, and the values of their community. Every detail in their clothing reflects a set of beliefs that goes far beyond fabric choices or fashion preferences. It's a daily, visible commitment to the idea of simplicity, humility, and separation from the modern world. Amish women are known for wearing handmade, solid-colored dresses that are completely free of prints or flashy details. These dresses are typically ankle-length, with long sleeves and a high neckline. Bright colors are avoided. Instead, they use dark or muted tones like navy, brown, forest green, or burgundy, depending on the Ordnung, the set of unwritten rules that guide each Amish community. These garments are sewn at home, often by the women themselves, and passed down or replicated with precision. The structure is carefully designed. No zippers, no buttons, no decorative elements. Fasteners are replaced with straight pins, hooks, or snaps, choices that deliberately avoid modern fashion influence or the idea of personal flair. Even pockets and seams are crafted to avoid unnecessary shaping of the body. The daily apron, usually worn over the dress, has both symbolic and practical purposes. It represents a woman's constant readiness for work, service, and submission to her domestic role. It's worn not just for chores, but also to show her devotion to a life of labor and humility. The cape, another layer often misunderstood by outsiders, serves as a modesty feature, blurring the outline of the body to keep physical form de-emphasized. Hair is another crucial part of the dress code. Amish women never cut their hair. Instead, it is pulled back and pinned into a tight bun, hidden beneath a white cap, a close-fitting bonnet that is worn at all times outside the home, and in some families even indoors. The cap symbolizes spiritual submission, referencing biblical instructions from 1 Corinthians about head coverings for women during prayer. Its visibility is a public expression of personal faith and submission not only to God but also to the community structure. In contrast, Mennonite women, though also committed to modesty, often enjoy more freedom and flexibility in how they express it. Dress styles vary widely depending on the group. Some conservative Mennonite women may still wear long, plain dresses and coverings similar to those of the Amish, but others wear lighter fabrics with simple floral prints, pastel colors, or modern cuts that still maintain modesty. Sleeves might be elbow length instead of full length, and buttons are widely accepted. Hair is usually tied back, and while some still wear a covering full time, others may only wear it during worship or prayer. The Mennonite head covering can range from a small lace doily clip to the hair to a black netted veil or a soft white cap. It's still a religious statement, but the rules about how and when it should be worn are much less rigid. For many Mennonite women, the covering is more symbolic than obligatory. Number 2. Head covering isn't just tradition, it's theology. For Amish women, wearing a head covering is not a matter of fashion, convenience, or even habit. It's a daily act of obedience rooted deeply in theology, based on a literal reading of the Bible. Specifically 1 Corinthians 11, which speaks about women covering their heads as a sign of submission to divine order. In Amish belief, this scripture isn't open to interpretation. It's taken as a command. That's why the head covering, often called a cap, is worn all day, every day, during chores, during worship, while cooking, even while sleeping in some households. It's not just for church. The cap is part of the uniform of Amish womanhood, signaling both humility before God and membership within the community. The cap itself is very specific in design. It's usually white and made from stiff fabric, sewn to fit tightly around the head and ears. It covers all the hair, which is always pinned or braided, and then rolled into a bun at the back of the head. Hair is never cut. From a young age, sometimes as early as 3 or 4, girls are taught how to fix their hair and secure the covering properly. In the most conservative Amish homes, not a single strand of hair is allowed to show. This visual discipline reinforces inward values, self-control, modesty, and deference. Mennonite women, while also rooted in Anabaptist tradition and influenced by the same scriptures, interpret head covering differently depending on the denomination. In conservative Mennonite groups, women still wear full coverings, usually white or black mesh caps that sit lightly on the back of the head. These coverings are smaller and often more decorative than Amish caps, and they allow hair to be partially visible. In moderate branches, the practice may be limited to church services or prayer time. These women may wear the covering only during worship as a sign of respect, then remove it throughout the day. More progressive Mennonite women may choose not to wear a covering at all. For them, the principle behind it, respect, humility, spiritual discipline, remains important, but the physical object is no longer seen as necessary. In these communities, the veil or cap has become a cultural symbol, not a religious requirement. It may appear at weddings, funerals, or traditional events, but it doesn't define everyday life. Instead, values like equality, conscience, and personal conviction take the lead. Interestingly, the type of head covering a woman wears or doesn't wear can reveal a lot about her background. It tells you how her church interprets scripture, how strictly it holds to tradition, and how her community balances faith with modern life. For Amish women, the head covering is an anchor, connecting them to their ancestors and their place in the ordnung, or church rules. For Mennonite women, it may be a chosen act of devotion or a cherished reminder of heritage. Either way, it's not just fabric. It's identity, theology, and social alignment, all sewn into one visible symbol. Number 3, education. Sets the tone for a woman's future. In Amish communities, education is designed to serve the values of simplicity, humility, and obedience. Amish girls typically finish formal schooling by the end of 8th grade, usually around age 13 or 14. They attend small church-run one-room schoolhouses located within the community, often taught by young unmarried women from the same settlement. The curriculum is practical and intentionally limited. Reading, writing, arithmetic, spelling, German, English, and Bible stories. Science, history, and geography are only taught at the most basic level, and there's little focus on critical thinking or higher education. The purpose isn't to prepare girls for a career, it's to prepare them for a life centered on family, community, and faith. After leaving school, Amish girls transition straight into adult responsibilities. They assist with raising younger siblings, learn to cook large meals from scratch, tend gardens, sew clothes, and help with the many tasks involved in running a household or farm. Education becomes entirely informal and experience-based. Mothers and grandmothers pass down domestic skills, while religious understanding continues through family Bible readings and church services. Any pursuit of education beyond the 8th grade is discouraged and, in some orders, outright prohibited. The belief is that higher learning can lead to pride, independence, and curiosity about the outside world, traits that are viewed as threats to the stability of the Amish way of life. In contrast, Mennonite women, particularly in moderate or progressive branches, are often encouraged to pursue more formal education. Many attend public or private high schools and go on to college. They earn degrees in fields such as teaching, nursing, counseling, social work, theology, and even business. While modesty and faith remain central, education is not seen as a danger but as a tool to better serve others. Mennonite theology, especially in modern branches, supports intellectual growth and cultural engagement as compatible with Christian values. The result is that Mennonite women may live lives that balance tradition with modern opportunity. A Mennonite woman might teach at a local school, work part-time as a nurse, or run a nonprofit while still being involved in her church and family life. She may use technology to connect with peers, attend Bible study through Zoom, or publish articles in faith-based journals. In many cases, Mennonite women are also actively involved in mission work, disaster relief, and global aid efforts, roles that often require formal education and organizational skills. This stark difference in educational philosophy influences not just knowledge but worldview. Amish women are raised to preserve what has always been. Their lives are structured around continuity and obedience. Mennonite women are often raised to interact with and influence the world while maintaining spiritual integrity. One tradition sees education as a potential distraction, the other treats it as a sacred responsibility. These opposing views shape how women learn, think, work, and participate in their communities, and ultimately how they see their purpose in both faith and life. Number 4, life inside and outside the community. The differences between Amish and Mennonite women become especially clear when you look at how they relate to the outside world. For Amish women, daily life is deeply shaped by a culture of separation. They live according to the principle of Gelassenheit, a belief in humility, simplicity, and submission to the will of God and the Ordnung, or church rules. This creates strong barriers between Amish life and modern society. An Amish woman typically stays within her community, rarely travels beyond local areas, and avoids interactions with non-Amish people unless it's necessary for business or healthcare. Friendships outside the faith are uncommon, and many don't even speak English fluently until school age, having grown up with Pennsylvania Dutch or another dialect. Modern media is strictly avoided. Amish women don't use the internet, don't own televisions, and don't listen to the radio. Even printed newspapers from the outside world are rare. Photography is discouraged because it's considered prideful and self-focused, so family pictures and selfies simply don't exist in Amish homes. In more conservative districts, even exposure to electricity from public utilities is prohibited, meaning no phones, no video calls, no digital contact. Their worldview is shaped almost entirely by community traditions, oral storytelling, church teachings, and daily interactions with other Amish families. The outside world is viewed as a threat to the moral and spiritual fabric of their way of life, something to be kept at a safe distance. Mennonite women, in contrast, often engage much more directly with the world outside their church. Their beliefs are still rooted in Anabaptist tradition and values like simplicity, peace, and service, but their interpretation of separation is more flexible. Many Mennonite women attend public schools or universities, which already puts them in contact with a broader mix of people, cultures, and ideas. Some live in cities or suburbs rather than rural communities. They may follow modest dress codes and avoid flashy lifestyles, but they still participate in many aspects of mainstream life. It's not unusual to find Mennonite women involved in political activities, especially those related to peace, justice, or social welfare. Some vote in local and national elections, attend peaceful protests, or work with interfaith coalitions. Many are active in global missions, volunteering in places like Haiti, Ukraine, or Central America, offering medical aid, education, and spiritual support. They might lead nonprofit organizations or community programs, combining faith with outreach. Their presence on social media is also telling. Mennonite women sometimes manage blogs or Instagram pages focused on Christian motherhood, frugal living, homesteading, or devotional studies. They often share personal stories, Bible verses, or updates about mission work. While their content is usually modest and reflective, it represents a clear bridge between the church community and the modern world. The Amish way emphasizes protection from external influence. Mennonites, in many cases, seek to influence the world while staying rooted in their beliefs. One side builds high walls to preserve spiritual identity, the other builds doors and windows to share it. Number 5, their relationship with technology. When it comes to technology, Amish and Mennonite women live in very different worlds. This single area, how much technology is used, accepted, or restricted, shapes their daily routines, their independence, and even how they raise children, work, or connect to the broader world. For Amish women, the relationship with technology is governed by the Ordnung, the unwritten set of rules that each Amish church district follows. These rules define what kind of tools and devices are allowed, and almost always the goal is to limit outside influence and preserve traditional values. That means no electricity from the public grid, no phones, and certainly no internet. Everyday tasks reflect this approach. Amish women do laundry using wringer washers powered by compressed air or diesel. Cooking is done on wood-burning or propane stoves. Homes are lit with oil or gas lamp, and food preservation often relies on cold cellars or ice houses instead of refrigerators. There are no televisions, no radios, and no computers. Even battery-powered devices like flashlights or clocks are only allowed in certain contexts, and always with the bishop's approval. This lifestyle requires a high level of physical effort and skill. Washing clothes manually, keeping a fire going for cooking, and planning meals without refrigeration or recipe apps. Communication is also limited. Amish women don't carry smartphones or send emails. Most communication happens face-to-face or through handwritten letters. If a family does have a shared phone, it's usually located in a small wooden phone shanty outside the home for emergency or business use only. Social media is completely off limits. The idea is to avoid pride, distraction, and dependency on things that could distance people from God or from one another. In contrast, Mennonite women, depending on the branch, often live with full access to modern conveniences. Conservative Mennonite groups still value simplicity, but many use electricity, drive cars, and have home appliances like microwaves, washing machines, and refrigerators. More moderate or progressive Mennonite women use smartphones, laptops, and the internet as part of daily life. They might shop online, join group chats with other moms, follow Christian podcasts, or share devotionals on Instagram. Technology, for many Mennonites, is not seen as inherently sinful. It's how it's used that matters. A smartphone can be a distraction, yes, but it can also help organize a food drive, host a virtual Bible study, or run an Etsy shop that supports the family. Some Mennonite women run successful blogs or YouTube channels focused on homesteading, modest fashion, or Christian living. Others use digital tools to homeschool their children, manage finances, or keep in touch with relatives across the country. Number 6. Leadership, voice, and visibility. Leadership among Amish and Mennonite women highlights one of the most fundamental contrasts between the two traditions. While both value modesty, humility, and service, the ways women participate in community life, decision-making, and spiritual leadership are deeply different and shaped by theology, culture, and historical development. In Amish communities, women are respected and essential, but their roles remain private and supportive rather than public or authoritative. Church leadership positions, bishop, preacher, deacon, are strictly male. These roles are not up for debate. They are determined by the Ordnung, the unwritten set of rules that govern all aspects of Amish life. Decisions in the church, school, and even business life are made by male elders, and there is no formal space for women's input. Yet that doesn't mean women are powerless. Inside the home, Amish wives and mothers often manage the family's finances, education, food production, and child rearing. They preserve food, plan church meals, host visiting families, and support their husbands' ministries. Their authority is real, but it's quiet, expressed in action rather than public speech. Even in group conversations, especially in church or business meetings, Amish women tend to speak less or defer to male relatives. This isn't just cultural, it's seen as a form of spiritual humility. The idea is not that women are less capable, but that God has created different roles for men and women, and public leadership is considered outside a woman's spiritual calling. In this context, leadership by women would be seen not as empowering, but as disruptive to divine order. Among Mennonites, the picture is much more diverse. In conservative branches, women's roles may still resemble those of the Amish, focused on hospitality, teaching children, and managing households. But in moderate and progressive groups, women are increasingly visible as leaders, thinkers, and community organizers. Some lead women's Bible studies or prayer groups. Others direct outreach ministries, coordinate disaster relief efforts, or teach adult Sunday school. And in many branches, such as Mennonite Church USA or the Mennonite Brethren in Canada, women can be ordained as pastors, preachers, and theologians. This public leadership is not seen as a break from tradition, but as a natural extension of faith lived out in today's world. Mennonite women preach sermons, lead worship teams, write devotionals, and represent their churches at global conferences. Their voices shape policy, theology, and culture. Some serve as chaplains, spiritual directors, or professors at seminaries. These roles offer not just visibility, but authority, and they change how women see their place in the church and in their communities. That shift is more than symbolic. When women lead, speak, and act publicly within faith communities, younger girls grow up seeing possibility, not limitation. For Amish girls, the path is narrow and defined. For Mennonite girls in progressive circles, the path is open, shaped by calling, gifts, and education. The difference in voice and visibility between these two groups reveals not only how they understand Scripture, but how they prepare women to live, serve, and lead in the world.